"Oh my God, are you serious?" The flash blinded Tyler. Before he could even sit down, the woman in seat 2B shoved her phone in his face. "Twitter needs to see this," she announced to the entire first-class cabin. "Skylux has really gone downhill. Now they're seating homeless gamers next to paying customers." She turned the camera on herself, posing with a look of disgust. "Guys, look at this. I paid $12,000 for this seat, and I'm stuck next to that!" Tyler blinked, still holding his Nintendo Switch. He looked down at his faded Pikachu hoodie. Then he looked at the woman who had just broadcast his face to 50,000 followers. She didn't know two things. First, Tyler wasn't homeless, and second, he owned this entire airline. 10 minutes earlier. She didn't let him finish. "Oh my God, are you serious right now?" Her voice was loud, deliberately loud, the kind of loud that made everyone in first class turn and look. "Twitter needs to see this." Her fingers flew across her screen as she talked, not even looking at him. "First class has really gone downhill. Skylux is now seating homeless-looking gamers next to paying customers. Unbelievable." Tyler blinked. "Ma'am, I have a ticket." "Honey, be honest." She finally looked at him, her nose wrinkled like she'd smelled something rotten. "Did you find that ticket? Steal it, maybe? Because there is no way you earned it. Look at you." She leaned back, examining him from head to toe. Ratty Pikachu hoodie, ripped jeans, scuffed sneakers. His hair was messy because he'd slept on the cab ride to the airport. "You look like you just crawled out of your mother's basement," she continued. "This is first class. Do you even know what that means?" A flight attendant appeared at the end of the aisle responding to the commotion. Young woman, dark hair pulled back tight, name tag reading Jessica. "Is everything all right here?" Jessica asked, professional smile already strained. The woman in 2B, Karen, Tyler would learn later, though he was already mentally calling her that, pointed at him like he was evidence at a crime scene. "No, everything is not all right. There's been some kind of mistake. This child is in first class, in the seat next to mine. I paid $12,000 for this ticket, and I will not sit next to someone who probably can't even afford the baggage fee." Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Jessica's smile tightened. "Ma'am, I'm sure we can resolve this quickly. Sir, may I see your boarding pass?" Tyler reached into his hoodie pocket and handed it over. Karen leaned in to look, her champagne sloshing slightly. "Anyone can Photoshop a boarding pass," Karen announced. "I want his ID too, and I want gate security to verify this." Jessica looked uncomfortable but nodded. "Sir, if you could provide identification as well?" Tyler pulled out his wallet and handed over his driver's license. Karen snatched it from Jessica's hand before the flight attendant could even look at it. "Tyler Chen," Karen read aloud mockingly. 23 years old. Let me guess, trust fund baby? Daddy bought you a ticket so you could take selfies for Instagram?" She thrust the ID back at Jessica. "Call the gate agent. Verify his booking. I'll wait. But if this ticket is legitimate, I want to know what kind of airline lets people like this into first class." Tyler said nothing. He slipped his earbuds in, leaned back against the window, and closed his eyes. Inside his hoodie pocket, his phone buzzed. A message from his COO. "Boss, are you on the plane yet? Board meeting in 3 hours." Tyler typed back with one hand, screen hidden. "On board. Bit of a situation. Stand by. Don't intervene." He hit send and went back to his music. This was going to be interesting. Jessica's radio crackled. She stepped back into the galley area, speaking quietly into her headset. Tyler could see her through the gap between seats, nodding, writing something down on a small notepad. Karen wasn't waiting quietly. "You know what the problem is?" she said, loud enough that the entire first-class cabin could hear. She wasn't talking to Tyler. She was performing for an audience. Airlines used to have standards. You used to have to dress appropriately. Now they let anyone on board as long as they have a credit card. An older businessman across the aisle, silver hair, expensive watch, Wall Street Journal folded on his lap, glanced over uncomfortably. He caught Tyler's eye and gave a small, apologetic shrug. Karen took another sip of champagne and continued. I've been flying first class for 15 years. 15. I'm platinum elite on 3 different airlines. I know quality when I see it. And this, she gestured vaguely in Tyler's direction without looking at him, is not it. Jessica returned, her professional smile back in place, but her eyes tired. Ma'am, I've confirmed with the gate agent. The ticket is legitimate. Mr. Chen is a valid first-class passenger on this flight. Karen's face flushed red. That's impossible. The booking was made 6 weeks ago, paid in full $8,400. Then it's fraud. Karen slammed her champagne flute down on her armrest tray. Liquid sloshed over the side. Someone stole a credit card. He hacked the system. I don't know how he did it, but look at him. Does he look like someone who can afford an $8,000 ticket? Tyler opened one eye, looked at Karen, then closed it again. He turned up his music slightly. That made her angrier. Is he ignoring me? Did you see that? He's ignoring me. Karen unbuckled her seatbelt and stood up, blocking the aisle. I want to speak to your supervisor. Now! Jessica's jaw tightened. Ma'am, I need you to remain seated. We're preparing for departure. I'm not sitting down until he is removed from this aircraft. Other passengers were staring now. A woman 2 rows back whispered something to her husband. A teenage girl had her phone out, clearly filming. Tyler pulled out his own phone and opened his messages. To anyone watching, he looked like a kid texting his friends, maybe complaining about the crazy lady next to him. In reality, he was messaging Richard Park, his CEO of operations. Richard, Flight 847, first class incident in progress. Passenger demanding removal based on appearance. Flight attendant handling it by the book so far. Do not intervene. I want to see how this plays out. Full protocol test. Richard's response came back in seconds. Understood. I have eyes on the flight manifest. Say the word and I'll have her off that plane in 90 seconds. Tyler typed back, negative, let it run. I need to know if our people can handle this without me pulling rank. He pocketed his phone. Jessica was radioing again. This time, a supervisor's voice crackled back loud enough for Tyler to hear. Attendant Williams, offer the passenger alternative seating or compensation. We need to resolve this before pushback. Jessica turned back to the cabin, looking directly at Tyler. Sir, she said carefully, would you be willing to accept a seat in Economy Plus? We could compensate you with 50,000 miles and a $200 flight credit. Tyler let the question hang in the air for a moment. Then he pulled out one earbud. I paid for this seat, he said quietly. I'd like to keep it. Karen exploded. See, he's refusing to cooperate. He's being difficult. She whirled on Jessica. This is your fault now. You're enabling this. I want your name. I want your employee number. I'm reporting you to corporate. Jessica's face went pale, but she stood her ground. Ma'am, he has every right to keep his assigned seat. Then I want the air marshal. Call security. I feel unsafe. The businessman across the aisle spoke up. His voice was calm, measured. Ma'am, maybe we should all just... Karen cut him off. Are you going to reimburse my ticket if I catch bedbugs from sitting next to him? Are you going to pay my medical bills when I get sick from whatever he's carrying? I showered this morning, Tyler said mildly, still looking at his phone. Oh, he speaks! Karen leaned down, getting close to his face. Her breath smelled like champagne and rage. When's the last time you had a real job, honey? When's the last time you paid taxes? Let me guess. You're one of those gamer kids who lives off Twitch donations and thinks he's an entrepreneur. Tyler met her eyes for the first time. Something like that, he said. Jessica's radio crackled again. A different voice this time. Male. Authoritative. Attendant Williams, this is Air Marshal Thompson. I'm coming forward. The air marshal appeared from somewhere in the middle of the cabin. Plain clothes, khakis, and a polo shirt, but the federal badge clipped to his belt was unmistakable. He was in his 40s, fit, with the kind of calm presence that came from years of dealing with mid-air chaos. Karen's face lit up like she'd just won the lottery. Finally, Thank God, officer, this man is disrupting the flight. I feel unsafe. I want him removed immediately. Marshall Thompson, his name tag read Derek, didn't acknowledge Karen at first. He walked directly to Tyler's seat and stood in the aisle. Sir, I'm going to need to see your identification and boarding pass. Tyler handed them over without a word. No argument, no explanation, just compliance. Derek examined the driver's license carefully, turning it over in his hands. He looked at the photo, then at Tyler's face, then back at the photo. He pulled out a small UV light from his pocket and ran it over the ID, checking for security features. Karen was practically bouncing with vindication. You see, something's wrong with it. I knew it. Derek ignored her. He took out his phone and photographed both the license and boarding pass. Then he stepped back into the galley and made a quiet call, his back turned to the cabin. Tyler watched him go. He knew Derek, had interviewed him personally 6 months ago when Skylux was expanding its security team. Derek was former Secret Service, meticulous, unflappable, one of the best hires Tyler had ever made. But Derek was doing his job, exactly as he should. Tyler respected that. After 2 minutes, 2 very long, very silent minutes where Karen kept glancing at Tyler with a smug smile, Derek returned. Everything checks out, Derek said flatly. Sir, you're cleared to fly. Karen's smile vanished. What? That's IT? You're not even going to question him? I did question him, ma'am. His documents are legitimate. His ticket is valid. He hasn't violated any regulations. But look at him, Karen gestured wildly. Use your eyes. Does he look like he belongs in first class? Derek's expression didn't change. Ma'am, appearance is not a factor in flight security. If you have a specific safety concern, my safety concern is that he's clearly lying about something. Nobody who looks like that can afford this ticket. Ma'am, I've verified his identity through federal databases. Unless you have evidence of a crime, I can't remove a passenger based on your feelings. Karen's face turned a deep shade of red. This is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Do you know who my husband is? No, ma'am. He golfs with the CEO of Delta. He has connections at United. I could have your job for this. Derek's jaw tightened slightly, but his voice remained calm. Ma'am, I don't work for Delta or United. I'm a federal officer. Now I need you to return to your seat so we can prepare for departure. I'm not sitting down until someone with real authority handles this. Ma'am, interfering with a flight crew is a federal offense. If you continue to disrupt this flight, I will have you removed. Karen laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. You'll remove me? I'm the victim here. She pulled out her phone. Fine, fine. If nobody here is going to help me, I'll handle this myself. She opened Instagram, tapped the camera icon, and switched to live video. The little live indicator appeared in red at the top of her screen. Hi, everyone, Karen said, her voice suddenly sugary sweet. She positioned the camera to show herself Tyler and the first-class cabin behind her. You will not believe what's happening right now on Skylux Airlines. I'm literally being forced to sit next to... She turned the camera to Tyler. This. Look at him. This is who they're letting into first class now. I paid $12,000 for this ticket, and this is what I get. Tyler could see the screen. Comments were already flooding in. OMG, that's awful. Sue them, girl. He looks like he's 12, lol. Get him off the plane. Karen was smiling now, energized by the validation. Her follower count in the top right corner read 52,000. And it gets worse, Karen continued, narrating to her phone like a news anchor. I asked them to verify his ticket, because clearly something is wrong, and they're protecting him. The flight attendant, the air marshal, everyone. It's like they want first class to be ruined. Jessica stepped forward, her voice tight. Ma'am, you cannot film other passengers without their consent. Please turn off your camera. I'm documenting evidence, Karen shot back, not lowering the phone. This is going viral. Skylux is going to regret treating me like this. She turned the camera back to herself. Everyone watching, I need you to screenshot this. Tag Skylux Airlines. Let them know this is unacceptable. Use hashtag SkyluxScandal. Let's make sure this. Jessica reached for her radio again, but Derek put a hand on her shoulder and shook his head. He leaned in and whispered something Tyler couldn't hear. Jessica nodded, looking pale. Tyler pulled out his phone again. Another message to Richard. She's live streaming. 52,000 followers. Let it run. I want every second documented. Boss, are you sure? This could blow up. That's the point. Let her dig. He pocketed his phone and settled back into his seat, eyes closed, looking for all the world like a tired kid who just wanted to sleep. But inside, he was counting. Karen had just committed her third federal violation in 10 minutes. This was about to get very interesting. Karen was fully in performance mode now. She'd angled her phone on the tray table, using her champagne glass as a makeshift stand, giving her followers a perfect view of the first-class cabin. The viewer count had climbed to 3,200. So here's where we are, Karen explained to her audience, using her hands for emphasis like she was hosting a talk show. I've asked nicely for this person to be moved. I've involved the flight attendant. I've involved the air marshal, and nothing is being done. She picked up the phone and turned it to show Tyler again. He had his eyes closed, earbuds in, looking completely unbothered. Look at him. He doesn't even care that he's ruining my flight. $12,000. 12! And this is what I get. The comments were a mix now. Why is she so pressed? Girl, just let him fly, lol. Something seems off here. But mostly, you're right. This is discrimination against paying customers. I'm never flying Skylux. Karen was reading the supportive comments aloud, feeding off them. Thank you, luxury lifestyle, Emma. Yes, exactly. This is discrimination against people who actually earned their seats. Jessica appeared again, looking more stressed than before. Her supervisor must have been chewing her out over the radio. Ma'am, Jessica said carefully, I really need you to end the live stream. You're filming crew members and passengers without permission. That's a violation of our terms of service. Karen didn't even look up. I agreed to your terms when I bought a first-class ticket, which included, I assumed, not sitting next to someone who looks like he robbed a GameStop. A few passengers gasped. The businessman across the aisle actually stood up. Okay, that's enough, he said firmly. His accent was Boston, old money. Young lady, you're being cruel, and frankly, you're embarrassing yourself. Karen whipped around. Excuse me, who asked you? Nobody. But someone needs to say it. This boy has done absolutely nothing wrong. He's been sitting there quietly while you've berated him for 20 minutes. You should be ashamed. Oh, so now you're attacking me? Karen grabbed her phone and pointed at the businessman. Everyone look. This is what passes for chivalry now. Defending freeloaders over paying customers. The businessman, his name was Martin, Tyler would learn later, shook his head in disgust and sat back down. Karen returned to her live stream, triumphant. See what I'm dealing with? This is the world we live in now, where having standards makes you the bad guy. Her viewer count hit 4,000. Tyler opened his eyes and glanced at his phone. A new message from his director of public relations. Tyler, we're seeing a live stream from Flight 847. It's getting traction on Twitter. Do you want me to issue a statement? Tyler typed back. No statement. Let it play out. Make sure legal's watching, though. He looked up at Karen, who was still ranting to her phone about the degradation of air travel standards. Jessica's radio crackled again, louder this time, a man's voice authoritative and clipped. Attendant Williams, this is Captain Morrison. What's the status up there? We're 10 minutes past our pushback window. Jessica pressed the radio button, her hand shaking slightly. Captain, we have a passenger dispute in first class. One passenger is refusing to accept another passenger's right to their assigned seat. She's also currently live streaming the situation. A pause. She's doing what? Live streaming, sir, on Instagram, to approximately 4,000 viewers. Another pause, longer this time. I'm coming out. Karen perked up immediately. She'd heard the exchange. Finally, she said to her camera. The captain, the person with actual authority. Watch, everyone. He's going to fix this, because there's no way a real captain would allow this situation to continue. She repositioned her phone for a better angle of the aisle, making sure she'd capture the captain's entrance. This is it, everyone. Justice is about to be served. Stay with me. Don't click away. You're going to want to see this. The viewer count hit 5,800. The cockpit door opened. Captain Morrison stepped into the first-class cabin. He was in his mid-50s, tall, with silver hair and 30 years of flying experience etched into the lines of his face. His uniform was immaculate, 4 stripes on his shoulders. Command presence radiated off him like heat. Every conversation in first class stopped. Even Karen went quiet for a moment. Morrison's eyes swept the cabin, taking in the scene. Jessica looking exhausted. Derek standing by the galley, Karen with her phone out filming. Tyler in seat 2A appearing to sleep. "I understand," Morrison said slowly, his voice carrying authority, "that we have an issue with seat 2A. Karen jumped on it immediately. "Yes, finally, someone with sense. Captain, I've been trying to explain to your staff. This boy does not belong in first class. I don't care if his ticket's scanned. Something is wrong. He looks like he just rolled out of a gaming basement. I've been flying Skylux for 8 years. I'm Platinum Elite. I will not be disrespected like this." She pointed her phone at Morrison. "My followers are watching. 6,200 people. They're all seeing how Skylux treats loyal customers." Morrison didn't acknowledge the camera. He walked slowly toward Tyler's seat, his face unreadable. "Sir," Morrison said, looking down at Tyler, "may I see your identification?" Tyler opened his eyes, pulled out an earbud, and handed over his license without a word. Morrison examined it slowly, way too slowly. Karen was smiling now, a huge vindicated smile. "See?" she whispered to her camera. "There's something wrong with it. I knew it. The captain knows. Watch." Morrison held Tyler's ID for what felt like a full minute. He studied it from every angle, checked the hologram, ran his thumb over the surface. Then he looked at Tyler's face, comparing it to the photo. The entire cabin held its breath. Karen's phone was perfectly positioned to catch everything. Her smile was so wide it looked painful. Finally, Morrison handed the ID back to Tyler. He turned to Jessica. "Attendant Williams, how long has this dispute been ongoing?" Jessica straightened up. "Approximately 25 minutes, sir." "And in those 25 minutes, have you verified this passenger's ticket, boarding pass, and identity?" "Yes, sir, multiple times, all legitimate." "Has he violated any FAA regulations? Caused any disturbance?" Jessica glanced at Tyler, who was still sitting quietly, one earbud in. "No, sir. He's been completely calm." Morrison nodded slowly. He turned back to Karen. "Ma'am, I understand you have concerns about—" "Concerns?" Karen interrupted, her voice rising. "Concerns? Captain, I don't care about rules. Use common sense. Look at him." She thrust her phone toward Tyler like it was evidence. "He's probably a hacker who stole someone's identity. He's probably dangerous. My followers agree with me." She gestured to the screen, where the comment count was climbing rapidly. 6,200 people are watching you make the biggest mistake of your career right now. Morrison's expression didn't change. "Ma'am, are you currently live streaming this interaction?" "Yes, and thank God I am, because otherwise nobody would believe how badly Skylux treats its premium customers." "You're aware that filming crew members and other passengers without consent violates our terms of service?" Karen waved her hand dismissively. "I don't care about your terms of service. I care about getting what I paid for, which is a first-class experience, not sitting next to some basement-dwelling gamer who probably spent his stimulus check on this ticket." Tyler shifted slightly in his seat. The movement was barely noticeable, but Morrison caught it. So did Derek. Karen didn't. She was too busy performing for her audience. "Here's what's going to happen, Captain," Karen said, her voice taking on a commanding tone. "You have 2 options. Option 1, you remove him. You refund my ticket fully. You upgrade me to your best suite on the next available flight to Tokyo. And you get me a written apology from your CEO. Full name, signature, the works." She paused for dramatic effect. Option 2, I walk off this plane right now. I call my lawyer, who, by the way, specializes in airline litigation, and Skylux gets destroyed on social media. I have 52,000 followers. My husband has connections at Delta, United, and American. We will make sure everyone knows how you treat loyal customers. Martin, the businessman, muttered something under his breath. It sounded like, "Oh, for God's sake." Karen heard him. "You have something to say?" "Just that you're making a fool of yourself, ma'am." "A fool? I'm standing up for my rights." She turned back to Morrison, holding up her phone so the timer was visible on the stream. "You have 30 seconds to decide, Captain, and I'm timing you. Right here. Live. My followers are watching. 30 seconds. Morrison looked at her phone, then at her face, then at Tyler. 20 seconds, Karen announced. "What's it going to be?" Morrison took a deep breath. The cabin was dead silent except for the hum of the ventilation system. 15 seconds, Captain. Tick-tock. Your airline's reputation is on the line. Tyler pulled his other earbud out. He sat up slightly, watching Morrison with an expression that might have been curiosity or amusement. It was hard to tell. 10 seconds, Karen counted down. 9, 8, 7. Morrison turned away from Karen. He faced Tyler directly. And then he did something nobody in the cabin expected. He straightened his posture, shoulders back, hands at his sides, and he bowed. Not a full 90-degree bow, but a clear, unmistakable gesture of respect. "Mr. Chen," Morrison said, his voice steady and formal, "I apologize for the delay. We cannot depart without your authorization." The cabin froze. Karen's countdown stopped mid-word. Her phone was still pointed at Morrison, still streaming. The viewer count had hit 7,900. The comments section exploded. "Wait, what? Did he just bow? Who is that kid?" Karen's smile faltered. Confusion flickered across her face. What are you doing?" she stammered. "His name is Tyler. His ID says Tyler Chen, not—" Morrison didn't look at her. "Ma'am," he said, his voice carrying the weight of 30 years of command, "this is Tyler Chen, owner and chief executive officer of Skylux Airlines. This aircraft, this route, this entire fleet, his family's company. You've been sitting next to the man who signs my paychecks." The silence that followed was absolute. Karen's face went through several emotions in rapid succession: confusion, disbelief, dawning horror. Her phone slipped in her hand, but it was still streaming, still recording. 8,900 viewers now. Tyler finally stood up. He was shorter than Morrison by a few inches, but something about the way he carried himself changed. The sleepy kid was gone. In his place was someone who very clearly knew exactly who he was. He pulled off his Pikachu hoodie. Underneath, he wore a clean-pressed polo shirt, navy blue, with a small embroidered logo on the chest, Skylux Airlines, and beneath that, in smaller text, CEO. Tyler folded the hoodie carefully and set it on his seat. Then he looked at Karen for the first time with his full attention. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "you photographed me without consent. That's illegal in flight under FAA regulations." Karen's mouth opened, but no sound came out. "You've been live streaming passengers and crew without permission for," he glanced at her phone screen, "11 minutes now. That's a violation of our terms of service, which you agreed to when you booked this ticket." Tyler pulled out his own phone, not to make a call, just to pull up something on the screen. "You demanded the removal of a passenger based solely on appearance. That's discrimination. And you just threatened our captain on a recorded live stream with career destruction if he didn't comply with your demands." He turned to Morrison. "Captain, thank you for handling this exactly as our protocols require. You verified credentials. You stayed professional. You gave the passenger every opportunity to de-escalate." Morrison nodded. "Sir." Tyler turned to Jessica, who looked like she might faint. "Attendant Williams, you followed procedure perfectly. You offered alternative solutions. You remained respectful even under pressure. That's exactly what we train for." Jessica's voice was barely a whisper. Sir, I asked you to move to Economy Plus. You offered a compromise to resolve a conflict. That's de-escalation. Well done. Then Tyler's eyes returned to Karen. Her phone was shaking in her hand. The live stream was still running. 12,400 viewers. Tyler took a step closer to Karen, not threatening, just closing the distance. You made several assumptions today, he said. His voice was calm, almost conversational. You assumed that because I was wearing a hoodie, I didn't belong here. You assumed that because I look young, I couldn't afford an $8,000 ticket. You assumed that someone who looks like me couldn't possibly have earned their place in first class. Karen finally found her voice. I didn't... Look, this is a misunderstanding. You thought I was poor, Tyler interrupted. You weaponized social media to humiliate someone you saw as beneath you. You tried to use your status as a weapon. He pulled out his tablet from his backpack. A few taps on the screen. This is your complete flight history with Skylux Airlines. He turned the screen so she could see it. Her eyes went wide. 11 complaints in 18 months. 4 different flight attendants filed formal reports about your behavior. Last March, you demanded a full refund because the first-class meal wasn't, quote, Instagram-worthy enough. In July, you made a gate agent cry because your boarding priority wasn't announced prominently enough. Karen's face had gone from red to white. Those were legitimate complaints. I have standards. You cost this airline $41,000 in compensation, refunds, and crew retraining. You've had 3 supervisors personally call you to discuss your conduct, and each time you threatened to sue us. Tyler tapped his screen again. And now today, you've assaulted another passenger by photographing them without consent. You've disrupted a flight, you've live-streamed confidential airline operations, and you just threatened a federal crew member with career destruction. He looked at her phone, which was still in her hand, still streaming. The comment section had completely turned. Oh my God, she's been harassing the owner. This is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen. Delete the stream, Karen. Karen energy off the charts. She's going viral for all the wrong reasons, Lamau. Someone screen record this before she deletes it. Karen looked at her phone, looked at the comments, looked at the viewer count, now at 14,000. Her hand started shaking. I need to. She fumbled with the phone, trying to end the stream. But her hands were shaking so badly, she couldn't hit the right button. Tyler waited patiently. Finally, Karen managed to tap the screen. But instead of ending the stream, she accidentally switched the camera view. So now it was showing her face in close-up. Her makeup was smudged. Her eyes were wide with panic. I can explain, she started. But the comments were merciless. No explanation needed. We saw everything. This is going on TikTok. Someone already made it a meme. Rip your reputation. Tyler spoke again, his voice still calm. Ms. Whitmore. Yes, I know your name. We know all our Platinum Elite members. I'm making the following decision as owner and CEO of Skylux Airlines. He tapped his tablet one more time, then turned it to face her. On the screen, in large letters, Karen Whitmore. Status permanently banned from Skylux Airlines. Effective immediately. Karen's phone slipped from her fingers. It clattered to the floor, still streaming, the camera now pointing at the ceiling. You can't, she whispered. You can't do this. I'll sue. You're welcome to try, Tyler said, but you'll find that our terms of service, which you agreed to, explicitly allow us to ban passengers who threaten crew members, assault other passengers, or violate federal aviation regulations. You've done all 3, in one flight, before we even took off. He looked at Morrison. Captain, please have airport security remove Ms. Whitmore from the aircraft. Her ticket is voided. She will receive no refund. Morrison nodded. Yes, sir, he pressed his radio. Ground security to Gate 7, we have a passenger removal. Karen finally snapped out of her shock. No, you can't do this to me. Do you know who I am? Do you know who my husband is? Your husband, Tyler said, checking his tablet, is Gregory Whitmore. He's an investment banker at Goldman Sachs. I'm sure he's very successful, but unless he owns an airline, his golf buddies at Delta can't help you here. I'll destroy you on social media. I have 52,000 followers. You had 52,000 followers, Tyler corrected gently. You're currently at 51,900. It's been dropping while we've been talking. Probably because they're watching you have a meltdown on live stream. Karen looked around desperately, at Jessica, at Derek, at Martin the businessman. Martin just shook his head slowly. 2 airport security officers appeared at the front of the cabin, large men in uniform with radios crackling. Ma'am, one of them said firmly, you need to come with us. No, this is discrimination. This is... Ma'am, you can walk or we can escort you. Your choice. Karen grabbed her handbag, her hands still shaking violently. She looked at Tyler one more time. You'll regret this, she hissed. You'll regret this. Tyler met her eyes steadily. Ma'am, you spent 25 minutes telling everyone in this cabin that I didn't belong here because of how I looked. You tried to humiliate me. You tried to get me arrested. And you did all of it on camera, streaming to thousands of people. He paused. The only person who should have regrets here is you. Security took Karen by each arm and started walking her backward down the aisle. She was crying now, mascara running down her face. My phone, she said weakly. My phone is still... Jessica picked it up from the floor. The stream was still running. 16,000 viewers. Jessica held it up so Karen could see the screen one last time. The comments were unanimous. This is the greatest karma I've ever seen. She feffoed so hard. Someone make this into a Netflix documentary? I'm here from Twitter. This is insane. Jessica tapped the button and ended the stream. Then she handed the phone to Karen as security led her past. The cabin door closed behind them. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Martin started clapping. Slowly at first. Then the teenage girl joined in. Then her mother. Then everyone in first class was applauding. Tyler looked embarrassed. He held up his hands. Really, that's not necessary. Everyone just did their jobs today. He turned to Morrison. Captain, I'm sorry for the delay. I know we're behind schedule. Let's get these people to Tokyo. Morrison smiled, a real smile this time. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Tyler sat back down in seat 2A, picked up his hoodie, and pulled it back on. He put his earbuds in, opened his Nintendo Switch, and went back to Mario Kart like nothing had happened. Jessica approached carefully. Mr. Chen, can I get you anything? Champagne? Water? Tyler looked up and smiled. Just water would be great, thanks. Right away, sir. As she walked away, Tyler caught Martin's eye across the aisle. Martin raised his Wall Street Journal in salute. Tyler grinned and went back to his game. The plane pushed back from the gate 14 minutes late. But it pushed back. 6 months later, Karen Whitmore's Instagram account told a story all by itself. The follower count had dropped from 52,000 to just under 8,000. Most of her recent posts had comments disabled. Her first-class incident video, the one she'd live-streamed that day, had been screen-recorded by at least 200 people before she could delete it. The recording spread everywhere. TikTok, Twitter, Reddit, YouTube commentary channels. 14 million views across all platforms. It became a meme. Karen Meets CEO was a trending topic for 3 days straight. Someone made a remix of her voice saying, "Do you know who I am?" set to techno music. It hit number 7 on Spotify's viral chart. The last post on her Instagram was from 2 months ago, an apology video, 11 minutes long. Her hair was different, shorter, less styled, no designer clothes visible, just a plain white wall behind her. I want to address what happened on Skylux Flight 847, she'd said, reading from notes. I was completely out of line. I judged someone based on their appearance, and I was wrong. I'm taking time to reflect on my behavior and work on myself. The video had 62,000 views. and 9,000 comments, most of which said some variation of too little, too late. She was banned from Skylux as promised, but Delta and United had quietly added her to their internal watch list too. Word traveled fast in the airline industry. Her luxury lifestyle influencer career was over. Meanwhile, Skylux Airlines' stock had jumped 22% in the 6 months following the incident. Tyler Chen appeared on the cover of Forbes' 30 Under 30 issue with the headline, "The CEO Who Rode in Coach." The article detailed how he regularly flew on his own airline in economy or first class, always in casual clothes to experience what our customers experience. The story went viral for different reasons than Karen's video. It was aspirational, inspiring, the kind of story people shared with captions like, "This is real leadership." Tyler had implemented a new company policy shortly after the incident. Every executive at Skylux, from VP level up to C-suite, had to work one frontline shift per quarter as a gate agent, flight attendant, or baggage handler. You can't make good decisions about customer experience if you haven't experienced it yourself, he'd said in a Bloomberg interview. "I wear hoodies because they're comfortable. I play video games because I enjoy them. I don't need to prove my worth with a suit. And our customers, all our customers, deserve respect regardless of how they look, how much money they have, or where they're sitting on the plane." The interview clip got 12 million views. Skylux launched a new marketing campaign, "Fly Skylux, Where Everyone Belongs." The ads featured diverse passengers in first class, a college student studying for finals, an artist with paint-stained jeans, a grandmother in a tracksuit, a gamer in a vintage Nintendo shirt. The tagline, "We don't judge by appearance, we judge by character." It won 3 advertising awards. Jessica Williams stood at the front of a training classroom at Skylux's corporate headquarters in Seattle. 23 new flight attendants sat in rows, notebooks out, watching her carefully. She'd been promoted to senior training instructor 3 months after the incident. The promotion came with a 30% raise and the responsibility of training all new hires on conflict resolution. Case Study 7, Jessica said, advancing her PowerPoint slide, the first-class incident. A photo appeared on the screen. Tyler in his Pikachu hoodie sitting in seat 2A, looking completely unbothered. The trainees laughed. "This is our CEO," Jessica said, and this is what he looked like when a passenger demanded his removal from first class. She walked them through the entire incident, the complaints, the live stream, the threats, the reveal. "I almost asked him to move," Jessica admitted. "I was this close." She held her thumb and forefinger an inch apart to making a huge mistake. "I almost prioritized the loud, angry passenger over the quiet, polite one, because she seemed more important." She paused. The lesson here isn't that every quiet passenger might be secretly wealthy or powerful. The lesson is that it shouldn't matter. You treat every single person on that aircraft with respect. The person in 37B paying $97 for a basic economy ticket, same respect as the person in 2A paying $12,000, because you never know their story. You never know what they've been through, and frankly, you don't need to know. One of the trainees raised her hand. "Ms. Williams, what happened to the passenger who made the complaint?" Jessica smiled. "She's permanently banned from Skylux, and from what I hear, she's having trouble booking with other airlines too. Last I checked, she was taking trains." The trainees laughed again. "Treat people well," Jessica said. "It's not complicated, but it matters." On the screen behind her, a final slide appeared. It wasn't a graph or a chart. It was a photo of Tyler in his hoodie, sitting in seat 2A, playing his Nintendo Switch. Underneath, a simple quote from the CEO, "The only thing that defines your worth is how you treat the person who can do nothing for you." And somewhere in a cramped train car heading out of the city, Karen Whitmore was probably scrolling through Instagram on a new account with 0 followers, wishing she had learned that lesson sooner. I hope you enjoyed that story. Please like the video and subscribe so that you do not miss out on the next one. In the meantime, I've handpicked 2 stories for you that I think you will enjoy. Have a great day.